In this lesson, I'm going to explain the concept of a term complement, which is a key concept in categorical logic that we will have to deploy when making certain kinds of immediate inferences. If you think about what we've already learned, you should recognize that every term in categorical logic designates a possible class of things. That's why we said that we have to convert verbs, verb phrases, adjectives, adjectival phrases, proper nouns, and so forth into common nouns, or what we call category terms. This is because only a common noun or a category term designates a class of possible things. I like to think of it this way. Category terms allow us to slice up and organize the world into classes of things. We can slice up the world in any number of different ways. For example, the term maple trees is a way of designating a certain segment of reality, but so is the term trees. Clearly, the category term trees contains many more members than the category term maple trees, since everything contained within the class of maple trees is also contained within the class of trees, along with other species. But that's okay. The present point is that both maple trees and trees are common nouns or category terms, and each designates some specific class of possible existing things. Now, if that's the case, what we're going to need is an easy way to identify or designate everything that stands outside of a class of possible things. So for example, the term trees picks out everything we call a tree, obviously. Every specific singular tree that exists in the world is going to fall within that category. Everything else in the world, including squirrels, human beings, blades of grass, fence posts, pieces of paper, logic classes, coolers, beer bottles, whatever, all of those things are outside of the class of trees. So we could say that they fall within the class that we will call non-trees. So given the term trees, what we're going to call the term complement of that is the term non-trees. The term complement picks out everything that is outside of the class to which it serves as its term complement. In the most general sense, as I've already said, the term complement for a term T will take the form non-T. However, it's going to be helpful to distinguish between what I call absolute term complements and relative term complements. Let's take the example of living things. The absolute term complement for living things will be non-living things. Within the class that is non-living things are going to be things like books and chairs and carpeting and rocks, lava, anything that's not a living thing. However, in some cases, if I want to talk about, in some sense, kind of the opposite of living thing, I don't really want to say non-living thing. I want to say dead things. So I think of the term dead things as a relative term complement to the term living things. And what I mean by that is that in a certain context, I can specify a domain of discourse or a domain of consideration that excludes a large number of things from consideration. Like there's just going to be parts of the universe, parts of the world that I'm not interested in talking about. So, and instead, I might want to talk within the class of things that we would otherwise call living things. I might want to talk about those that are in fact living versus those that are now dead. And for purposes of categorical logic, if we are working within a specified domain like that, I can treat dead things as the term complement of living things. It's going to depend on the context.